How's it going? This is Chase, and today we're going to be talking about socialism versus capitalism, and we'll get into it a little bit about how it affects the economy, but I also want to go into the personal element, how it affects people's decision making, their inspiration, and so forth. So, I have this article up on how socialism destroyed Venezuela, and I guess you can kind of see where my side of the argument lies. But let's read a little bit about this, and then we can get into it. Many in the media have blamed Venezuela's worsening humanitarian crisis on corruption, mismanagement, falling oil prices, or U.S. sanctions. Anything but the rise of socialism in what was once the wealthiest country in South America. Yet, corruption and mismanagement weren't the direct result of increased government control of the economy, socialism, and in reality, lower oil prices and U.S. sanctions have little to do with the crisis. Instead, the mass starvation and exodus faced by Venezuelans are the natural consequences of the socialist policies implemented by dictators Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. And then the article goes on to talk about how it's not necessarily the corrupt government and the bad choices of their government that led them down this path. Back, from 1999, this is kind of where it all started. And this article goes on to explain that as well. What happens is you get a politician because they were, democracy. They vote in their president. They had, campaign, and Hugo Chavez basically told everyone that, everyone's going to get government fund, not everyone, but all the small guys are going to get government funding. All these big plantation owners and business owners, we're going to take from them and give to everyone else. And I mean, it's very much socialism. But basically, because a majority of the population is, not rich, which is how it is almost everywhere, obviously, he got voted in. And his extreme measures at government, basically, let's go into it a little bit. So, he basically started taking control of the country little by little. Just the government takes over certain industries. It pushed companies out. They started okay, this is going to be a government ran affair. One of the big ones was all the plantations. They basically took all the land of all the plantation owners, and they're like, all right, this is going to be government ran. And tell me how a single government is going to run thousands of different farms, manage the crops, manage all the fertilization, manage that's something that individual farmers take care of. They take care of their land to get the most product so that they can earn the most money and stay afloat. But then that's how business runs. But let's have the government take everything over, give to the poor, and basically it just caused an entire economic collapse of Venezuela. And yes, I'm not saying the government's not corrupt, but that's not the root of the problem of why they failed so hard. And there's many other reasons as well, but I want to get into the personal element of this. I want to get into the reasons why socialism kind of destroys the individual. And so, one of the biggest things I think America and capitalism does a fantastic job of is inspiring. You see jobs from you see stories from rags to riches all the time. You can look them up. There's hundreds, thousands of rags to riches stories where real people's lives, they went from near homeless, paycheck to paycheck, or maybe not even that, to owning a very successful business, being multimillionaire, and that's the dream. That's the American dream. People like to say we're all materialistic, but I have absolutely no problem with people wanting to give themselves a fantastic life by working hard. In the system we have, it's not always perfectly fair, but usually the amount of work and dedication you put into something, you're going to get compensated eventually in some way for your work. And obviously there's like an X factor of, other things such as intelligence or good business decisions, and that's something that has to be learned as you go. But inspiration, that's one of America's greatest strengths, is we inspire millions of children, adolescents, adults to do better, to make their lives better, because you can in America. In Venezuela right now, if you have a job at a cell phone company, there's nowhere to move up. There's no, you can't really start a business. You can't, if you're working, you're getting a little bit of money. You can't even buy bread in Venezuela right now. That's the problem. Sure, you get X amount of dollars from the government, but if that X amount of dollars is not able to buy even bread because they have a shortage of it, or the price is so high for it, then what's the freaking point of giving everyone money if all the prices of everything goes way up? And that's also the same argument with minimum wage. Is the moment you start charging, you force companies to have higher labor costs, the price of their goods will go up. And so those people having minimum wage that got raised either will get their hours cut, they will have to work less hours. Okay, so they'll have to work less hours. They'll either lose their job altogether because they can't afford the employee, or even if they keep their job, they're paying a higher price for what was normally a cheaper good, like a bagel or something. Instead of buying a bagel for $1, now they're buying it for $3. Well, it kind of defeats the purpose of them making more money if everything's more expensive. But so inspiration, I think, is one. Here's another reason, is a value of skilled labor, and this is for doctors, cooks or chefs, lawyers. I mean, obviously anything that takes a long time to get good at, you start to devalue all those various trained works in a socialist economy. People that spent 20 years mastering the craft of a successful brain surgery, it's taken them half their life to try and just learn and be as best as they can at a certain practice. And then in socialism, they don't give a rat's ass about how much time you've put in to be as good as you are. It doesn't matter. You get paid what you get paid, and you're going to be happy with it. Well, it's not very inspirational to be good or to try and be the best at a certain skill if you're going to get paid as the same guy that's working at a cell phone company down the street. Not to diss cell phone employees, because if you're in America and you're working for a cell phone company, there's ways to move up. And so here it's not bad. Here you can move up, and you can change jobs if you don't like it or whatever. You have choice in America, which is the best part. You have choice. You have control over your life in an aspect that other countries doesn't, or other socialist countries don't. and for some reason, in modern America, we like to complain about that. We have no idea how hard it is for other countries, for other people around the world, because we're sitting here with our cushy chairs, with our decent paying jobs that give us tons of stuff because of manufacturing and because of all the advancements we've made to get products cheaper and cheaper. We live like kings. Like the average person in America lives like a king, compared to other countries, and yet we complain about it. We like to sit on our ass and say, you know what, I should get paid more. If you want to get paid more, then go get paid more. That we're in America. You can go get paid more if you do what you need to do to get paid more. That's why we're in America. The other thing is the sacrifice that has been made just for us to be given this opportunity. America was made on millions of bodies of our ancestors, and we don't like to properly rationalize that when it comes to radically changing our company or our country. Many people, the outrage culture of America right now, it's basically whenever I see something like that, I just think about all the millions and millions of lives that were given up at like 18 and 20 years old, or maybe older if you're counting the Civil War. But, millions of people gave up their life so that their family was able to live the life that we're able to live in America. Free speech, free enterprise. That's all America, and it was all sacrificed for. I mean, you just got to remember that we haven't really been in a true millennials or Gen Z. They don't know war. They don't know the sacrifice. They don't know what putting your life on the line for something greater than yourself is like. And I'm not saying I've been over and I've been in a war, so I know what it's like. I'm not gonna claim to know that, but I hold what other people do for our country and what did for our country. I value that in the highest regard because I rationalize their sacrifice. I think about it. I remember them. So, and let's go back to the socialism, capitalism talk. Let's think about how our government manages money right now. Do we want to give our government more money when they can hardly manage what they have right now properly? It always seems like, we're fine complaining about corruption and mismanagement of money in our government, but at the same time, the same people are saying, yeah, let's have the government give everyone more money. Let's give the government more power. Let's have them be involved in decisions throughout, America, and just, make federal laws, here, there, and that's it's so contradictory. The moment we start giving the government more money in any way, the more corruption there's going to be. It's just a direct correlation, and that's how it's going to happen. So if you want a socialist government, I recommend moving out of America, because you already know how our government treats money. And this is regardless of your side, Republican, Democrat. We all know, and we all want our government to better finance, our country. But they won't, and they can't, because they're politicians, and they're not finance majors. They're not going to do it properly. So why in the hell should we give them more money in any capacity for any sort of thing? They have enough money coming in. There is so much money there that's mismanaged. So the last thing I would like to say is America is one of the most giving countries in the world. And what do I mean by that? We have the biggest charities. We fund the most money towards special, for causes that people don't give a shit about in other countries. People don't even try and raise money for the issues that we raise money for, and yet we raise millions and millions of dollars for funding research, all sorts of programs, and that's all privately. That's not the government. That's private individuals and private companies or nonprofits raising that money, and that's all done through America. So you can either choose to strip all that away and let's just have the government feed money from the rich, because that sounds fair. But in the end, what's going to happen is no one gets anything, and the people with disease in this country, where no one gets really anything, are even going to be 10 times worse off, because they don't have money, they don't have health care, and they have some terrible disease that they have no way of dealing with, no medicine to deal with, like in Venezuela. Now, in America, there's plenty of nonprofits funding, there's research, there's medicine coming out constantly because of the drive of capitalism, the drive to make something better for the chance to make money at it. Eli Lilly is a good example. Massive pharmaceutical firm. They spend billions every year researching new drugs to try and find that new thing that's going to help millions and help them sustain their business. It goes together so perfectly. We make advancements and we get better as a country while living a better life because there's more money pouring in. So let me know what you think. I know this is a very hot topic, and there's a lot of people that think there are some benefits or some reform that we can take from socialism, maybe such as healthcare, socializing healthcare. I won't get into that in this video, and maybe there are some particular elements of socialism that we could implement to help our country. But as a whole, I'm saying as a whole, for the whole country, the whole industry, as a group, we need to stay capitalistic. But let me know what you think. Let me know if your opinion varies and why it varies, and let's talk about it, because I don't think there's one right answer to any of this. I think there's many right answers. It's all about implementation. Can we implement it right? But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you want more content similar to this, and thanks.